Webpack is slow.
That's actually a lot of different factors, but two main things. If you when you say Webpack is slow, you're obviously comparing it with other tools, let's say with Weave or Parcel. But when you understand that Webpack, is synchronous, it's built with JavaScript, all your plugins are also JavaScript. It's a part of where that slowness, you call it, comes from. But there are a lot of complaints, at least from what I see from support forums. When the people say Webpack is slow, what I see is usually there's a misconfiguration that they have done that makes Webpack slow. Because if you have used Next.js also internally uses Webpack. I've never seen someone saying that Next.js is slow. Right? Because internally it's also using Webpack, it's binding everything with Webpack. At least from my experience, I can say it's usually a misconfiguration. If not that, there are multiple documented ways to speed up the JavaScript parser, to speed up the minimization parts, changing the internals. And in that sense, from my own experience, I can say from all the other binders I use, Webpack still remains as the most extensible one, and it's still getting used by companies like Microsoft, Flash. So that's basically my answer. On that, there are already existing solutions. You can enable caching in Webpack. There's two types. So there's basically two flags that you have to enable. One is layer-based caching and the caching system itself. We, at least at Razorpay, personally I've seen our build times getting cut down by half, like literally half. Even at Razorpay level code, our whole development service spins up in 40 seconds. And after that, HMR is less than a second.
That's great. So, anyone else? Any questions regarding career? They are here, catch them, I mean. Don't let them go with your questions. So, anyone else?
Yeah, hello sir, I have two questions. So one question is related to switching the company. Actually, from my side, I entered in one company where there is a work-life balance. So I switched that company after 6 months. Okay. Then I went to another company and I switched after 1 year that company. Then I went to another company. After 1 year I switched. So it will impact on my career-wise if I want to stay like. जैसे ये करियर पर इफेक्ट करेगा क्या कंपनी वाइज? अगर जैसे हम 5 ईयर 10 ईयर एक्सपीरियंस होता है और हर ईयर पर अगर स्विच है, पीपल आर स्विचिंग फॉर द पैकेजेस, राइट? सो इसका क्या बेस्ट वे रह सकता है कि अगर हमें कहाँ पर साइमल्टेनियसली स्विच करना है एंड कहाँ पर हमें स्टॉप हो जाना है स्टेबिलिटी के लिए, ताकि वो हमारे रिज्यूम पर प्रॉपर रहे?
Yes, I would like. So every year there is study which is releasing, which is top reason for quit job and top reason for joining job. Okay, for last many years, top first reason is money. Okay, people quit job for money because they are not getting good money. People join good job for money because they are getting good money. Okay, so yeah, mostly people are changing job for money. Okay, another thing is, will it affect on your career? Okay, so when you are new, if you are at junior development phase, you can switch jobs. Okay, because at that phase, if you are switching job, you will get good raise. Okay, at junior development phase, you might get like double of your salary and all. Okay, but when you are at senior level, Okay, company want to like have you, company wants some trust in you. Okay, so when you are like pitching for some senior level position, company will see that you have switched career through years. Okay, and if you believe me, you get to know company when you work for company for 6 months. Okay, you even if you know code base, everything like code culture, everything will take time. And if you leave company after 1 year, it is cost for company too. Okay, so I think when you are at senior level, people will see that you have switched lot of jobs, so they will not trust you. Okay, they will hire you. They might hire you because if there is need, but they might doubt you that you might also leave this job after 1 year. If you want to add something.
I'll say search for good teams, right? Right from the start, when you're even if there's a job which is not paying you well, but you've got a great team, you're going to grow very quickly in skills, and skills are actually what you're paid for. Please understand, I work with US companies, and we compete with outsourced talent across the world. To be able to showcase that Indian talent is really good, एक छाप आ गया है पता है लोगों के मन में कि Indians are great application engineers, but they're terrible at root level, base level coding, right? And so to kind of tell them, no, man, we've done this work, we can do it, right? We have people who work in Webpack, right? So it is really kind of resetting them. So I would say focus on where you get to learn the most when you start. This is very important because once you hit somewhere between 33 to 35, right, something happens. Or learning apne aap kind of, you have to now struggle to learn. Okay? I'm not saying it goes away, but you have to put in more effort. And apna field aisa hai, the reason I'm sitting here today, even though I started, little late in software development, I must have started 2011, right, in software development. But I joined React when there was no JSX, right? So I joined React that time. So it helped, right? I was in the right place at the right time. And this is the beauty that software can give you. You bet on the right technologies, you're in the right place at the right time, it works. For that, you need to be in the right teams because React will come and go, Angular will come and go, but JavaScript is here to stay. Even low-level concepts, right, object-oriented, etc., will always stick around. So focus on skills, and then automatically everything will fall in place. The changing for skills is fine because I feel right teams have people who can determine कि actually आपने क्यों job छोड़ा और क्यों टिके. So when you apply and you have that heart-to-heart conversation, that guy also wants to have heart-to-heart conversation with you, then you're like, okay, I want this guy, you want to work with us, then it works out. But yes, like, Tushar said, very practically speaking, when it's a very well-to-do company, you have a lot of applications, automatically वो application sideline हो जाएंगे, where you don't see people sticking around. वो है. So I would say from both ends, don't worry about this because it's genuine reason, right? So don't worry about it. Focus on what's best for you, but at the same time, see how best you can get into that situation. Svelte is, you cannot compare Svelte and Next.js. You can compare Svelte and React or Svelte it and Next.js. Okay, so how is it different? How is it different? This is a very long conversation, but just try and understand this that Svelte has its own API, right? It has its own layer. you will have to learn how to write code in Svelte, right? Whereas React is trying to depend more on JavaScript. So you feel like you're writing JavaScript when you're writing React, right? But when you're writing Svelte, you're actually writing Svelte. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say for this forum. And Svelte has an excellent learning repository. They have these exercises which are on the Svelte website itself. You can go through them one by one and you can actually look at different concepts, right? Okay, I want to petitionally render something. I want to manage state. So you can look at that.
I had a question that we were at the last of a diploma and we are now going to be starting internships. So we actually have no idea about React and how it works. The question was, how do we start learning React and to which extent?
You know JavaScript, right? Yes. Yeah. So if you know JavaScript, pick up a problem statement to solve in React. That's it. Make something that you want. You are bad at managing your expenses, build an expense management application for yourself, right? And then just go from there. This would be my immediate advice. Then probably next step would be look at large open source code bases which are already written in React. But React has changed a lot over the time, so make sure it's a relatively modern code base, like it's maintained very well, it's up to date, it's built in the latest version of React. And then kind of then start dissecting it, right? I would say right now you can completely ignore server components for probably another 4 to 6 months.
So, if you want to learn React, one thing I've noticed is when people say learn React, they only learn React. The part that people miss out is that React is also JavaScript. So make sure that you are well versed with JavaScript concepts, especially promises, because you will be using those heavily. And yeah, so that is one. And if you asked about to what extent must you know React, I would say at least understand the basic codes, basic stuff. After you are well versed with JavaScript promises and asynchronous programming, at least learn to the part where you know at least about use state, use effect, use memo, use callback, where to use these hooks. And once you have a really good grasp over React, is when you pick up a framework like Next.js or Vue, so what you're comfortable with. And then delve into the server part, like server actions, loader functions, and so on. That would be my recommendation. Learn JavaScript properly, and then start with React. I will give you a very personal opinion. When you interview for a company में interview processes differ करते हैं, obviously. But when you interview for a company, most times your interviewers are going to be the people whose team you're going to be in. You have to ask these questions. Do you have a bench system, or what is the team working on? And sure, company's reputation and the works and stuff are important, but on a daily basis, you're not going to care about what everyone else in the company is doing. You're going to care about what your team is doing and what's the product that you are working on. So my recommendation would be when you go for an interview, you always ask your team members who are on the hiring panel, what is the team doing, why is your team hiring, what is the roadmap for the product you're building. So that would be my recommendation.
I have seen many people thinking about it, whether I should join product-based company or service-based company or like MNC company or local company, startup and all. Okay, but I think you should join company where you are getting opportunity to learn something new. Okay, because you all have choose the field, because today you are here, you all have choose the field in which you need to learn daily. Okay, and bench period is, I think, a very positive period because you are getting paid plus getting time to learn. Okay, so if you are on bench and learning, like company will onboard you in project very soon if you have skills and all. So this is about like getting new skills, because today we are talking about React. Okay, I have seen time when people are using jQuery. I have seen time when people are using only HTML. Okay, so daily, like after every 5 years, there is switch. Okay, everything is changing. Okay, so in next 5 or 10 years, we might not be even using React or anything. Okay, so if you are in this field, you need to learn daily. Okay, so this should be the goal. And if you are on top of learning, okay, no recession will affect you or nothing will affect you. Yeah, that's it.
Can you give us some tips about looking for or applying for internship?
I think Twitter is probably your best friend, right? And acting quickly on open internship positions. But I may not be the best person to answer this because I'm not in your situation. I'm in the situation of providing internships, and generally that goes to a talent acquisition team, and they take care of that. They just send us hundreds of requests, right? What I will say is, you also do enough to be seen. Right? Don't only be on the lookout. So, okay, you spend an hour a day hunting companies, but spend the rest of the time actually building your own portfolio, building projects, writing blogs, sharing what you've been working on. It doesn't need to be massive, but it just needs to show people that one, you can work on stuff end to end, two, you have the communication skills to be able to share it.
I'll actually answer you. Since, I got early in my career. But what Saket said is very true. Companies get a lot of applications, and it is important to be seen. So you have to find something that makes your resume special. That could be probably you're contributing to some open source project, or you build some projects of your own that you can put on your resume and show it. But definitely, if it's not on your resume, portfolio is probably your best friend. Having some kind of online presence definitely helps a lot. Whether it's in the form of a portfolio website or a simple blog. The blog, you don't even have to host your website. If it's a blog, you can have it on Hashnode. Multiple different websites that allow you to host a blog. Yeah, having an online presence, having your work getting shown somewhere definitely helps a lot.
Hello. If what I am from civil background or non-IT background, and I have a career gap of 1 or 2 years. So how can I get a job if I have a best portfolio and I have worked on the multiple projects even, but not in work with the company? So how can I get the job or how to apply the job?
So one thing that's really good about the tech industry is that I have not seen gatekeeping on the basis of which degree you hold. I have been on the hiring panel at Razorpay. I've sat on the hiring panel for front-end engineers, senior front-end engineers, both. And we usually don't look at what degree you come with. All we look at is, do you have the required skills to be able to perform in this role? So, yeah, when I myself was interviewing, nobody asked me which college you're from or which degree you're holding in your hand. But we do look at what projects you've built and what work you've already done and what experience do you already hold. So, yeah, degree to be honest does not really matter at, like in the current tech industry.
This is not just about the degree. I know the degree is not matter, but this is all about the career gap. I have zero experience in the React or anything. So how can I start? Or not even I shortlisted for any company for the zero experience. So especially in the Mumbai. So how can
I want to share a personal experience. When I started, actually I completely am here by accident. Alright, I was trying to run my own business making chocolates. Okay, and a friend of mine said, you have some free space in your office, मैं आता हूँ वहाँ पे and मैं बैठता हूँ हर Saturday को, because he wanted to impress his then girlfriend's father, who was a businessman. He might be business खड़ा करने वाला हूँ IT में, because he was an IT guy. But he told me, हम IT company चालू करते साथ. And I told him, dude, I'm already doing this. He said, you're not making much money, man. You come to IT, you think proper, you think right. Well, okay, fine. So we had an amazing idea for an Android application. And he said, अरे ये कोड ना चलता है बहुत आसानी से, तू ना सेल्स मार्केटिंग हैंडल कर, तू बहुत अच्छे से करता है, मैं कोड करता हूँ, don't worry. So we started day one, we made wireframes, everything, app idea, and we hired 2 engineers. And lo and behold, I found out this guy knows nothing about Android development. Okay. So I taught myself Android development from the guys we hired. And then within a year it just clicked and I was teaching them. Okay. Something just worked out. Now I spent 5 years doing this, running an agency. Because of course our app failed. We fell on our face. But we converted it to an agency. And then I went into the industry. Now टेक्निकली इंडस्ट्री के हिसाब से मेरे पास कितना एक्सपीरियंस है? I have zero experience. I have no work on the industry. Do you know how much I was paying myself? My wife is here. She knows exactly how much I was paying myself. I was paying myself under 15,000 rupees, right? But when I went to the industry, do you know what I said? I said I'm worth 40 lakhs. Why? Because I've run teams. I've worked on Android also, iOS also, web also, right? So you should be able to back that up and again hunt for the right teams. I'll be saying this very frankly. There aren't many companies like Razorpay and Proximity who are only looking at you as an individual and what skills you have. ये कम है, but keep searching for these teams. मिल जाएंगे आपको. More and more people are getting थोड़ा सा clear in their head. More and more people want people who can deliver. So the moment they know ये बंदा deliver कर सकता है ना, they will hire.
Thank you.
The same question, right? Like you told, like degree not matter. But my brother currently working as a data engineer, but he is not having a bachelor degree. So he is getting paid well, but as you told, like degree not matter. So he is having a 3 year of experience as a senior data engineer. So when he wants to switch in the future, so people will tell like you should have at least full-time degree, at least 15 years. But he has done only till diploma. So will he get any chance in future, like in other companies, like they have criteria like this, if full-time degree we need?
If a company has a criteria, it's mostly there for filtering purposes. Can understand this, okay? When companies have criteria, it's because they're getting too many applications. So in that time, no, write directly to the hiring person. Write directly to the hiring managers, show them what you've done. Many a times they're ready to give you a chance. क्यों पता है? क्योंकि reference system भी होता है. When people inside the company refer you in, they get a, so happily this हाँ ये ना बहुत अच्छा बंदा है, बस ये criteria match नहीं करता लेकिन हमारे team के लिए बहुत अच्छा. It takes a little effort to hunt for these people, come to places like React Mumbai, Meetups, make your network strong. Then you drop one message to all of these people, hey, I need somebody from this company, right? Someone from Bookmaker, someone from Razorpay. You'll actually get contacts and you can talk to them, have a heart to heart. Right? But I would say, there will be obstacles, there will be criteria which hold you back. One, try and see what the win-win is over there. And then two, sometimes if you still hit a wall, search for other doors, there's so many doors. See which one opens. Future of any web developer. Reading web developer. Oh, reading web development. Do you guys have an opinion on this?
So I don't know in depth about video development specifically, but I do know about 3JS. 3JS has been very popular library for video experiences. But I don't have any in-depth knowledge of this, but I have seen that when some like a lot of design agencies or a lot of fashion brands have want very unique experiences for their site visitors. And that's where people who have specialization in 3D and design, who are also web developers, come into play. There is a future, but there is also a niche. It's not going to be everyone going to become a 3D web developer, but there are use cases where there are clients who want such experiences for their website visitors. So yeah, there is a future, but we have to find that.
I would like to add that game development is also becoming big in the web space, because now you can actually run code in things like WebAssembly. So you can also take advantage of native graphics, right, through the browser. This helps with, like keep an eye on what are people doing in games, web development and 3D. And then you will kind of see patterns emerging. That's actually most of the shaders that we get in 3D space are actually coming from game developers saying, "Arey, मेरे game में मुझे पानी चाहिए, वो बहुत realistic दिखना चाहिए." And they're developing that, then someone is actually just reusing it. Right? There's a lot of things, like he said, this is a niche. This is not for everybody. It's like CEO banna and 3JS developer banna is kind of equivalent. That's the number of different things you need to balance. You should be good at illustrations, art, thinking in 3D space, and then code. Yeah. Pardon me?
Hello.
Yeah.
So, till like I guess 5 years before, the 3JS was not stable. But after the Bruno Simon got attention to it, it's now stable. So also like it's major news, like Google Lab exposed their areas for the website. Now we can use the GPU of the computer, PC or on PC. So is there like any future, like in, especially in e-commerce, like business needs 3D objects and let's say lens card. They can show their, like it's now not 3JS exactly, but can they use 3JS somehow 3D website basically?
See, it's about, if I ask everyone in this room, how many people here have experienced augmented reality, AR? How many people? Okay, 1, 2, 3, probably 3, 4 people have experienced it. Out of these 4 people, do you feel like AR is a big deal, like you want to experience it every day? Like you can see your life changing. Everyone saw the Vision Pro launch, no? Apple car. Do you feel like that's a device you want to own? Right. No, I'm not talking about cost. If it was affordable, then probably yes. Right? So it's mixed. This is the feedback I'm seeing constantly from people. I think there is some user experience that needs to be cracked still, and then maybe AR, VR and all will be huge. And when they are huge, web is going to be the first place that it explodes, because web allows people to have instant experience. You don't need to download an app, right? But we're not there yet. So I would really, when you talk about e-commerce space and everything, even though you have native GPU access, where are most of the people accessing the web from mobile phone? So there is some more variables to consider here, and you can never tell which is viral human proteins.
So it's very tough to learn it.
There are extractions on top of it, right? It's like 3JS is difficult, but React 3.5 is easy.
Thank you.
Most of it.
Hi, I'm Karthik, and I'm in my final year of engineering. So next year I'll be looking for jobs and all. So currently I'm like exploring stuff, and like, so in the start of my career, should I be like a journalist or a specialist, or like should I just keep exploring, and or should I specialize in something?
Hello. Okay. So this is like dilemma of every student. Okay. Without experience, you are not getting job, and without job, you are not getting experience. Okay. This is like every student's dilemma. Okay. So there are few ways you can solve it. Okay. First one is open source. They say when you are learning something, try to contribute on open source. Okay, so you will learn something and people will notice you. Okay, another mistake students are making is like they are working on very simple project. Okay, like 80% of students are making project which are just cut request, library management system, something XYZ management system. Okay, so when you are student, when you are learning, try to build something which is not available, which is not easy. If you fail, it's not your loss. Okay, you are you will not spend money on it. You are just using your time. So as a student, as there are many students here, if you are a student and working on project, try to work on impossible project. Okay, and try to make it possible. If you make it possible, you might build startup on it. And if you fail, you can showcase it to company so that company can hire you. Okay.
Hi, I have a question for you. So as recently uses React Native, okay, in the mobile version. So what are the best practices you will use to basically run the animation on 60 FPS, especially on low-end devices? Because on higher-end devices, the animations or the app performance, it comes quite faster. But what are the things one should do and not do to basically have the application performance well and run better animation on low-end devices?
So I'm not on the mobile game, I'm more of website. But I'll give you some general advice based on what my experience has been with React Native. When it comes to animation in React Native, they inbuilt animation driver uses the JavaScript thread. But there are libraries available in which instead of animation calculations on the native device thread. One of which is React Native Reanimated. It's a little difficult to pick up because the animations you're writing very low level code to animate stuff. But for animations, that has really been the pseudo official thing that people have been using for animations in React. The other is for micro animations or micro delights. Like when you click on a button and it shows confetti. I recommend a lot of people, a lot of projects I see use something called Lottie. What Lottie basically does is it converts an animation into a JSON file and then it can run it on the native code. So yeah, this is basically what I do.
So my question is that I just want to get a brief introduction, like how did you landed into Webpack and what was your priority for DSA?
To be very honest, I have never done DSA. It's not because I didn't like it, but for me DSA has always been understanding whatever algorithm I need to implement. When it comes to Webpack, recently I've been working on the CSS parser. It reads the CSS file, it generates CSS modules and stuff. So you will see that when you work on code which makes you think, you don't really have to practice DSA. After some time, it will start coming to you automatically. I mean, sometimes you'll have to learn the basic algorithms like sorting and searching to build that intuition, but you don't have to go to lead code and grind lead code hard. So yeah, the way I have been looking at this, build something, when it becomes complex, it will automatically start building intuition for problem solving. Don't build an intuition for rectifying problem and rectifying the solution you want to make out. On how I landed into the Webpack team, it's because I have been using Webpack for a while on my own personal projects at Razorpay as well. At Razorpay, I was a part of the performance initiative, which was improving the performance of our websites, the Razorpay's dashboard. I worked on it a bit. I had a lot of times I had to understand how Webpack works internally. That involved me reading the docs. Sometimes it's not documented. You have to go into the Webpack code base and figure out what's actually going on. And yeah, that's how I got very familiar with Webpack. And then I noticed a small bug. I decided to fix it myself. I got some use I figured it out. And I fixed it myself. And slowly I started, that's basically when you get started. You make a really small contribution of a problem that you personally face in a tool that you use on a daily basis. You get more and more involved with that project, and eventually you do enough contributions to that project, and then either they invite you themselves, seeing that you already have so many contributions to that repo, or maybe just go to like someone who maintains the project and ask them, see, I have made these many contributions and I'd like to join your team. And not just solve bugs, but I also want to implement new features and I want to see what your roadmap is. And I work at this so-and-so company and we have these so-and-so requirements. So I think this is where we could work and improve that.
So I have two following questions right now. So what is your view on cold mailing? And one of my friend, like you said, contributing to open source, right? So some of my friends started maintaining the description of a function, and they made a PR for that. That PR got merged with the repo. So after that, they started writing the resume like I contributed to some open source and stuff like that. So what's your view on that?
I mean, fine, you're adding it to your resume, but what if the interviewer asks you what did you actually contribute to the project? And what are you going to answer? If you have no understanding of what that project is, you don't understand what the code base is and what the project actually does. If you put on your resume that you've contributed to this and you're part of this team, if that interviewer knows what that tool is and they ask you a simple question and they are not able to answer, what do you think is going to happen?
So we are really short on time, so we just take last 3 questions. So
How exactly should I choose
build proof of concepts, right? And even before that, ask for time to do R&D and build proof of concepts. One of the biggest issues is when you're building a new product, everyone, all the stakeholders, हमें 3 हफ्ते 4 हफ्ते में हमें लैंडिंग पेज देखना, हमें लॉगिन देखना, ऑथेंटिकेशन हो जाना चाहिए, हमारा सेल्स टीम को दिखाना आना चाहिए लोगों को, right? Don't fall into that trap. One very good way of not falling into that trap is communicating effectively. So show that look, if we take this time out, this is what we end up with. These are 3 possible options, but to evaluate all of them, this is the time it will take. I always take opinion of multiple other people. Reach out in the industry. You will be shocked how many people are ready to respond to you when you reach out to them on Twitter. मतलब nearly everybody from Kenzie Dodds to Tejas Kumar to everybody who we know in the React community, and just message them on Twitter, and they just message back. I've had hour-long Zoom calls also with them. Just talking about, and you know what I do, I bring my whole team also on the Zoom call. Team को क्या लगता है? Wow, Kenzie Dodds से बात करना. So it's very easy to kind of get mentorship also. You just need to get mentorship on the right people, not from anybody. So reach out, search for good mentors, but at the same time, proof of concepts is going to be your best way out, right? And आप गिरोगे ही, आप गिर के ही सीखोगे. You will make a mistake, you will accumulate technical debt, you will solve that technical debt, and you will get smarter. So be ready for that. Don't try and make perfect decisions. Try and stick with the choices that you make. That's more important. Yeah. Find out what pinches them. So if they're in it for the number of users because they want to convince venture capitalists आगे जाके, then tell them कि आपके users कम रह जाएंगे क्योंकि scale नहीं होगा system अगर हम आ जाएंगे. If they're focused on how much money they can save, then tell them कि पैसे ज़्यादा बचेंगे क्योंकि हम cost effective solution को निकालेंगे. Find out what they're actually there in it for, and they'll be very happy. It's all about how much value are you creating for them and what the definition of value is for them. Yeah, absolutely. Experiment on technologies as well. I think many a times you also have to open your base. So what we do, we'll test the technology. We'll ask our developer team to test the technology, and that's it. Everyone will say, "Oh, यार, Svelte बहुत बढ़िया था, Svelte use करेंगे." And then suddenly someone wants to build tiny calendar widget, and 1 महीना चला जाता है. क्यों? क्योंकि कुछ था ही नहीं रेडी उसमें, सब कुछ हमें करना पड़ा है. Edge cases इतने सारे आ गए. So be a little smart about this. Again, like I said, this is where you kind of fall on your face and will learn. So here I think you should, as much input as you get from other people helps, and that includes users, right? That includes product people, design people. अरे लाइफ में हर चीज के साथ ऐसा लगता है. I should have changed girlfriend. I should have changed so many things. Job. Don't get she recorded it again. So the thing is, sticking with your choice. It comes back down to the same thing. So many people, Tailwind has become so popular now. Just before Tailwind, people started projects with child components. Do you think they feel bad? Of course they feel bad. There are new engineers joining their projects and saying, मैं नहीं काम करूँगा इस tech stack पे, इसमें tailwind नहीं है. Happens, but that's not the point. The point is you made a decision. Any long-lasting application with enough time, it sticks around. It's gonna be legacy code, yeah. Right. So again, this is my feeling. I don't know if other website development.
I'll give you two examples from my own personal experience. So at Razorpay, every project you see is built with React. But there is one exception, which is the checkout. When you see the checkout page जो आता है when you make a payment with Razorpay, that is the only thing I've built with Svelte. Okay, and the reasoning was that we want to use Svelte here because we want the bundle size to be very small. Obviously the checkout page has to go very quickly, or you start losing customers there. You don't want React large bundle size. And what happened was that one project we used Svelte. That reasoning is sound, right? But now the problem is not everybody knows how to write Svelte code. So when you choose a tech stack, you're not only looking at what tech stack works best for your project, you also have to look at how many people from your team already know that tech stack, are comfortable or have some expertise. But if they don't, how long would it take them to onboard them to that new tech? The other example is, so Razorpay access code base. So that was one where now it's very difficult to migrate from Svelte to React. Right? So the second example is, for CSS there have been many solutions. In Razorpay X, the front-end dashboard uses OCSS ka plugin. Most people are not even heard about OCSS here. So OCSS ka plugin whatever, Sugar CSS ka. So if you ever written SAS, this is SASS or SCSS, CSS, it was similar to that. But now it's so outdated. You look at the file and VS Code does not even do syntax identity. So there we have been migrating to style components. And so that was a decision. Initially, it chal gaya, but there is a way forward. Two kinds. Where the way forward is very difficult, or where there is some migration path. Based on that, इसके बाद migration path है क्या? Should be a major factor. Saying if I choose this, it does not go well. How easy or difficult is it to migrate from it? And also depends on how important that piece is. If you choose a database and say कि ठीक है, अभी database select कर लिया, migrating a database is really difficult. Over there you don't want to even stay. Whereas it's like a CSS processing identity. It's easy. You can just say कि ठीक है, ये extension है. I use this preprocessor. It's stable and I will just use something else for it. So that also has to be.
Okay, I guess it was a very long session. Okay, we can take that last one.
Hi panel, I am Akash. So it's been 1.5 experience. I am working in a SaaS company which provides lab solutions. I was hired as a front-end engineer, but I am currently leaning towards back-end. The Elasticsearch and other things fascinates me. So what will be your suggestion for me? Should I stick to only front-end or should I move to back-end also for long-term career choice?
Yeah, so see, I cannot tell you. It has to be a personal decision and what you like doing most. My suggestion is not to limit yourself to your title you were hired by. At Razorpay, I am a front-end developer, but I also handle some of the DevOps for the team, just because I know some stuff. If you know Elasticsearch, don't limit yourself. Which is why we don't call ourselves React developers, we call ourselves web developers or front-end developers. Web developer actually is a more apt term because back-end भी अभी नहीं है. Yeah, don't limit yourself, but that is a decision you have to take for yourself on what interests you. That would be my suggestion.
My view is never say no to any learning opportunity. Okay, you are learning something, you should learn it. you won't be front-end developer for whole your life. Okay, at some point of the time you need to understand backend. At some point of the time you will grow and you will see whole application. Okay, or from the top you will decide for people. Okay, so this is your chance to learn new things. So, like, never say no to any learning opportunity.
So that was a really long session again. Thank you so much to our panelists and thank you to all of you for showing up to this event.